Going on, knuckleheads? I know you guys didn't expect this one, but figure, go out, get some fresh air, get some exercise. Keep talking about the fights. We've got some exciting fights coming next week. We've got the UFC coming back next week. It looks like Tyron Woodley's going to be fighting. But I guess for me at least, the most exciting news, besides Conor McGregor putting out his top four, which is kind of ridiculous, the people he listed in his top four, he made himself number two, basically, behind Anderson Silva. But for me, the big news is Dillian Whyte versus Francis Ngannou. For whatever reason, these guys are calling each other out, man. For whatever reason, these guys are calling each other out. I guess, Francis Ngannou, he started out in combat sports as a boxer. Francis Ngannou, man, he's got some hands on him. And I guess Dillian Whyte, he knows a little bit about Francis Ngannou. And Dillian Whyte knows about combat sports, man. He's not just a boxer. He's not just your everyday boxer. Dillian Whyte has a Muay Thai / kickboxing background. Dillian Whyte's had an MMA fight, Dillian Whyte's, he's not some bum off the street when it comes to combat sports. And in calling out Francis Ngannou, he's definitely caught Ngannou's attention. He called him a coward on a couple of occasions. Dillian Whyte called Francis Ngannou a coward on a couple of occasions, referring to the way he lost his fights. He says he didn't show any heart. As we all know, Dillian Whyte has a ton of heart. But, I don't know if Ngannou didn't show heart in that Stipe fight. I do think he had a bit of a questionable confidence, sort of self-confidence issue in the subsequent Derek Lewis fight that he lost. But I wouldn't say he doesn't have heart. But, that's what Dillian Whyte is honing in on as he's criticizing Francis Ngannou. And it's an interesting matchup. It's an interesting matchup, because both of these guys, are guys with experience in each other's sport. Both of these guys are tough guys. Both of these guys are heavyweights. And, it's crazy because this is why it's an ironic call-out. It's because Dillian Whyte, despite the fact that he's a heavyweight boxer, and he does have a hell of a left hook. He's got a knockout punch in that left hand, but I don't believe him. And I'll be honest on this one, man. Maybe people will call me crazy. I don't believe him, and I don't believe anybody has a punch like Francis Ngannou, even in boxing. I would bet, and I could be wrong. I'm a big boxing fan saying this, and I'm a kickboxing promoter saying this. But I would bet that Francis Ngannou probably has a bigger punch, or does have a bigger punch, than anyone in boxing. That's my opinion. Maybe, again, you guys might think I'm crazy, but I've never seen people react to punches the way people react to Francis Ngannou's punches. Not that I can remember. Even Deontay Wilder, look, I'm not sure if Tyson Fury took a shot from Francis Ngannou, he'd deal with it the way he dealt with Deontay Wilder's power. Even Deontay Wilder. But here's the thing. You're talking about different glove sizes, so that might have something to do with it. But the ironic thing about this call-out is, Francis Ngannou might actually have more power, Francis Ngannou might actually have more power than anyone in boxing. And I definitely think he has more power, or potentially has more power, than Dillian Whyte. Now, that's not to say Dillian Whyte can't knock him out. I think Dillian Whyte can knock him out. But Ngannou, man, hasn't even really been rocked. He's a sturdy guy. He's a really sturdy guy. So, my bad, lost you guys for a second there. But yeah, he's a really sturdy guy. Neil, the security's in here. He says, "What's up, coach?" What's up, Neil, man? I appreciate you being in here, brother. I appreciate you being in here. And of course, I'm not a coach. By the way, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification icon next to it. Join Knucklehead Nation if you haven't already. But, so back to this call out, man. Francis Ngannou. Big power, man. Big power. And, damn, Muay Thai 23. I would love to see that. Francis versus Megan O'Leary. It's kind of hot. But, I'm just playing with you. But, Francis Ngannou, big power, man. Big fucking power. Again, probably rivals anyone in boxing. Might be superior just because of how much of a physical specimen the guy is. And I think it would be an exciting fight because, you know, Dillian Whyte is a tough guy. I think now, if they went into the ring right now, it would be a coin toss. I mean, I would favor Dillian Whyte in boxing rules. Because, you know me, I always got to go with the guy with the technique. I don't think Ngannou's technique is bad. I don't think Francis Ngannou's technique is bad at all, but I got to go with Dillian Whyte, the experienced boxer. In a situation like that, I feel like he'd know how to preserve his energy and deal with the way boxing's kind of scheduled over the course of 12 rounds. I think that's the huge advantage at this time that Dillian Whyte would have. So, I mean, I would say if they were to fight right now, Dillian Whyte would probably take it into deep water and drown Francis Ngannou. But I think a Francis Ngannou that gets used to the length of the rounds in boxing and the amount of rounds, you know, I think a Francis Ngannou in that situation is very dangerous and it becomes a coin toss. Will he land that shot? Will he land that shot? Or, you know, will he get taken into deep water and will his cardio fail him? Kind of like what happened with Stipe. But, you know, the only difference is you can't really, I mean, you can fight dirty on the inside and sort of sap somebody's energy in boxing, but you can't wrestle somebody the way that Stipe did against Ngannou, you know, and that's kind of why Stipe won, right? I mean, he was, you know, pushing him down, pulling on his neck, forcing him to work that lower back to try to get back up. So it would be an entertaining fight, man. And Dillian Whyte is a beast. And look, Dillian Whyte even mentioned that he would be willing, or it sounds like he would be willing, to fight Ngannou in MMA rules. Now, the thing about that is, Dillian Whyte would be the first guy, as far as I know, to ever be a boxing and MMA heavyweight champion. He would be the only one, and he might be the only guy, period, to be a boxing and a boxing champ and a champ in the UFC. Because right now, as we speak, my understanding is Dillian Whyte is WBC interim champ. We all know how long he waited for his mandatory title shot against Deontay Wilder. It never panned out. But right now, he's the mandatory champ, is Dillian Whyte. So, you know, for him to step in an octagon and take on Francis Ngannou is not beyond reality, you know, because when you think about it, you know, is he going to have to worry about Francis Ngannou taking him down? Probably not, unless that's Francis Ngannou's game plan. But when has that ever been Francis Ngannou's game plan? That's never been Francis Ngannou's game plan. He stands and bangs it out. He doesn't do the wrestling stuff. And I'm not sure he would change his strategy just to take on Dillian Whyte. I feel like he'd probably stand up with him. And I don't know if he even has the skill set. I mean, I've never seen Ngannou's wrestling at all. What we did see was the lack of it in the fights where he's been taken down. So I mean, he's got some decent, I guess, takedown defense, but I think that's as far as it goes. He's got decent takedown defense. By the way, beautiful day today, Southern California. Perfect weather. Sun's out. Not a cloud in the sky. Look at this. It's like this almost every day. It's crazy, man. I come from Miami where it rains like every fucking day, and you look up and you see this and it's every day, and you say to yourself, man, how do these fucking plants live, man? It's crazy. But yeah, that's why we're out here today doing things a little bit differently. So forgive me for not being in the studio. I'm taking you guys on the road with me, man, getting some light road work in while we chat about the fight. Tell me what you guys think about Ngannou versus Dillian Whyte. I mean, is this something that you'd be interested in watching? Who do you think wins the fight? I mean, I'd be very interested because I do think, Dillian Whyte, with his background, I mean, he's got some Muay Thai and kickboxing training. He's had an MMA fight. I believe he's done some wrestling too. We had Dean Whyte, which is his older brother. We had him on the show. We interviewed him. And, he mentioned they do have a combat sports background. And, they get a lot of that toughness. I mean, Dillian Whyte gets a lot of that toughness from Muay Thai, right? Because in Muay Thai, I mean, you're not trying to slip and slide when you're in there and fighting in Muay Thai. You're basically absorbing shots and, looking to counter those shots, or looking to counter. Man, these people, they drive fast around this neighborhood, man. One day I'm gonna throw my phone at somebody. But looking to counter those shots, absorbing them, just taking turns, throwing blows at each other until somebody goes down. I mean, that's pretty much what I've seen from Muay Thai. Some guys a little bit slicker than others, of course, but it's not the same level of slickness as you get in boxing. And then a lot of people will say, well, Jairzinho, had a million fights, right? Jairzinho had a million fights, and he went in there and he got destroyed in like 20 seconds. He got destroyed. But here's the thing, and Chael Sonnen brought this up, and this is something I want to express to you guys. I mean, I'm not Chael Sonnen, but I'll give you my experience. And I haven't fought. I didn't fight, but I've done sparring, I've trained, and I've learned from people who are great. And I wouldn't compare Jairzinho to Dillian Whyte just because Dillian Whyte has a kickboxing and Muay Thai background, because of the fact that Dillian Whyte now is a boxer, right? And boxers have a different way of moving their heads than kickboxers like Jairzinho. They have more head movement, and I think the fact that Francis Ngannou is a boxer, because I know what you're saying, he's an MMA fighter, but Francis Ngannou is a boxer with MMA gloves on. That's what he is. You don't see him really throwing kicks. Although if he added that wrinkle to his arsenal, I mean, he'd be terrifying, right? Because I would imagine his kicks would be harder than his punches, if there's such a thing. He'd basically rip the fucking space-time continuum every time he threw a kick, and we'd get sucked back a decade or two. But anyway, Francis Ngannou is basically a boxer with MMA gloves on. So that would bode well for Dillian Whyte because he does have the head movement necessary to compete as a boxer, as he's shown. Dillian Whyte has head movement, Dillian Whyte has the ability also to absorb shots the way a Muay Thai fighter does, which has, again, aided him tremendously in his boxing career. So he has the ability to absorb shots and return fire, and he has the ability to move his head. And that's something that Jairzinho didn't really have, or might not have to the same extent as Dillian Whyte. Because why? Well, because kickboxers and Muay Thai guys, typically their head movement isn't as good. And the reason for that is, if you're slipping really hard the way boxers do, you think of Prince Nassim Hamed, or just any boxer that slips. Typically in boxing, you would slip a lot more. You're allowed to slip a lot more because you don't have to worry about somebody's big ass shin bone coming up to kick you in the head. So that's why I'm saying a guy like Dillian Whyte could give, I think, Francis Ngannou a better fight, potentially, than Jairzinho, because, again, Francis Ngannou, from my eyes at least, and maybe I'm wrong, you guys can tell me what you think about this. Just leave it in the chat or whatever. But from what I can see, Francis Ngannou, he's a boxer, man. He's a boxer with MMA gloves on. That's what he does. He goes in there, he throws hands. I don't see him kicking, hardly ever. I'm not sure if I've ever seen him kick in my life, if I'm being honest. And I think if they did fight, whether it's in an octagon or elsewhere, if it's in a boxing match, they have to box, right? But even if it's in an octagon, they're going to throw hands. That's what's going to happen. And I think that Dillian Whyte, again, because of his head movement, that boxing head movement, which he's adjusted to now, he would have a lot of success. He could have a lot of success. But at the same time, you always have to be conscious of Francis Ngannou's power. It's just tremendous power, man. I've never seen anything like it with the MMA gloves on. And I've never seen that kind of vicious knockout power, brutal knockout power with MMA gloves on. And I would imagine that he can do a lot of damage with boxing gloves on as well. So I think that's a fun fight if it ever happens. I know we're always talking about these bullshit boxing MMA crossover bouts, but this one could actually happen because, the heavyweight division in the UFC is kind of slim, kind of thin, and then you've got two guys with experience in each other's sport. As far as pro fights or whatever, I don't believe Ngannou has anything but MMA fights on his resume. But Dillian Whyte does have kickboxing / Muay Thai experience. He's got an MMA fight. And the guy, the guy's not going to go down. You're not going to out-hard him. You're going to have to knock him out. And so that'd be a fun fucking fight to watch if it did happen. And it would be way better, in my opinion. It would be a way more entertaining fight than most of the crossover bouts we've seen. Other than, I think it would be on par, if not more exciting, than McGregor versus Mayweather, because as far as a fight goes, right? As far as a fight goes, it would be more exciting because these guys can knock each other out. Whereas, McGregor and Mayweather, going into it, you didn't think that somebody was really going to get knocked out. Although that was a good fight. And, I didn't think, here's another thing that makes me think this fight would be exciting. I'm probably in the minority on this one. But I gotta tell you guys the way I feel. I'm not gonna bullshit you guys. Just keeping it authentic as usual, right? So I thought McGregor did a fantastic job. I thought McGregor did a fantastic job. I thought he stayed in there with Mayweather. I thought it was amazing. I had the same reaction. I had the same reaction that Mike Tyson did to Conor McGregor. In that he went in there against a guy 50-0 or whatever. One of the best to ever do it, guys. I mean, you're talking about a guy with not a single boxing match in his life going in there against a guy that's one of the best to ever do it. And for him to perform the way he did in that situation, I mean, you could say he carried him. You could say he was, it was rigged. You can say whatever you want. But man, I don't believe that. I believe that he was in there. He was fighting. He was putting on a hell of a fight. And he made it a tough fight. And Floyd had to adjust. He had to adjust. And man, in the beginning of the fight, I mean, he was landing shots. He was winning rounds. And I mean, we didn't even see that from, the orthodox boxers that Mayweather was fighting. I mean, he was working them so bad. So, to talk about McGregor or talk down on McGregor like he doesn't deserve some kind of props, and to discuss this topic, these crossover bouts, like there's no way these guys could win. I mean, look, listen, I know McGregor's a special competitor, man. I know McGregor's a special competitor. He's not the kind of guy to go out like a punk, man. He's not going to go out like a punk. You're going to have to beat him. He's an amazing competitor, and something told me that fight wasn't going to be easy. But so I don't know. Maybe McGregor was special, but it does make you think, and it does make you consider that guys could be successful in a crossover bout. So I don't see why Francis couldn't be, and I don't see why Dillian couldn't be against Francis. Again, a guy who's heavily a striker. Let's see what's going on in here. Muay Thai 23 says, "Hey coach, what up, Muay Thai? Love over narcissism says Ngannou would have legit killed someone in the old UFC era. Dude, this guy could legit kill someone now, Jay. RGN's in a grin, and my boy says Francis is the water of MMA and can throw stepping backwards. Yep, and you know what? He might have cleaner technique than Wilder, man. He might have cleaner technique than Wilder. Wilder's technique is horrible. This guy is, for his size and his build, man, he's a fucking monster, man. John Jones is a beast for sure. Cardio kid, get yours, George A. You know it. We're out here. I'm out here getting this work in, man. Putting this big body on the move, man. I ate a big ass fucking burrito today and some nachos and shit. But I gotta keep it moving, man. I gotta keep it moving. Never stops. The grind never stops. Let's get the bicep in there. Let's get the oh, look at that. I bet you guys didn't know I had that. That's that burrito. That's that Mexican burrito I ate today, bro. That shit was good as fuck. Let's see here. Kevin from Chicago in this bitch. He says harder to knock someone out in boxing with big gloves and high guard defense. That's true. But could you imagine Francis Ngannou landing clean on anyone? I mean, Francis and them standing up to it, Francis Ngannou, man, that guy's That guy's a monster, man. That guy's a monster. I bet you there's not that many human beings with the skulls necessary, right? You have to have, I don't know if you guys know this, but they did like an x-ray on Julio Cesar Chavez's skull, and it came out like 3 times thicker than the average human skull or something. So maybe a guy that was a heavyweight with Julio Cesar Chavez's skull mutation could stand up to a blow like that. Or maybe fucking Wolverine could stand up to a blow like that. But man, a regular person just... And even in the Stipe fight, right? I mean, I was crazy impressed with Stipe. Stipe's a beast, bro. Stipe's a beast. I've been watching old fights since we've been in this fucking bullshit quarantine, which is driving me fucking crazy. So I've been watching old fights. I watched the Tyson Holmes fight today. I watched Evander Holyfield today, who's one of my favorite fighters of all time. Evander Holyfield. I love Evander Holyfield. I watched a couple of his fights today. Which is the one I watched? Oh, I watched when he knocked out Buster Douglas. Man, what a beast Evander Holyfield. And you know what? Evander Holyfield, 208 pounds in that fight where he knocked out Buster Douglas. 208 pounds. But anyway, my point is, I rewatched that Stipe DC fight, the second one. Man, Stipe's adjustment in that fight and going to the body and the way he finished DC, that was nothing less. That was nothing less than an MMA genius gangster at work. Stipe is so goofy, bro. Stipe is so goofy. He's such like a regular dude. He's just a fireman, whatever. But that guy deep down, that guy's a gangster genius. Gangster genius, that guy. So, you know what I mean. Let me see here. What's going on here? Harden, okay, we read that one. Conor went 12 rounds. Insane. Never lost and didn't really lose either. Versus Money Mayweather. Insane Conor. Conor's just lucky he didn't fight a heavy puncher. Well, but Conor's not really known for having a bad chin, Kevin. I mean, I see what you're saying. But, I mean, when have you ever seen Conor get rocked? What happens to Conor is he gasses out. But he doesn't get rocked. I mean, I haven't really noticed it. 12 rounds with the best in the world. Irish power. He isn't just lucky. Absolutely, I see you. That's RGS of the Granite. Representing from Boston. Let me see. Lost one. What up, my brother? He says, hey, man, I don't know much about Francis. He's good. Whyte solid. Hell yeah, lost one. Go on YouTube, bro, and look for Francis Ngannou highlights. And then come talk to me, my man. This guy could have easily been a boxer. Easy. And this guy could probably knock out most of the heavyweights we have today. RGN's in the Granite. Biceps are for sure. Triceps are to go. Hey, I got some triceps too. I'm all right, RGN. Pick up the pace, man. If you want that burrito gone, dude. I'm out here, man. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. I'm out here farting and shit, man, with all this fucking walking I'm doing trying to get this burrito out of me, man. Man, that was a good fucking burrito, though. It was a big steak burrito. I had chips with queso. And what else? I had salsa. Shit was good as fuck, man. And then this is my guilty pleasure, man. You guys don't judge me for this one. This is my guilty pleasure. I had a Mountain Dew Kickstart. Man, I fucking love those things. Mountain Dew Kickstart, Monster Energy, whatever. I love all those energy drinks. I don't drink more than 2 or 3 a week. The most I've ever done is like 1 a day. If anything, a lot of the time I prefer coffee and tea. I do a lot of tea. That's the culture, man. The culture forced tea on me growing up. The uh, the Middle Eastern culture, man. They love the tea. They love the coffee. I do a lot of that. Growing up, that's how it was. And even in Miami, you know, all the Cubanos, all my Cubans with the coffee. The Turkish coffee is the same way as the Cuban. Turkish coffee is what they drink in the Arab world too. It's the small little espresso shots like the Cubans drink. Fucking the best, man. That shit's fucking rocket fuel, man. But well, yeah, I those are my guilty pleasures, man. Coffee, tea, and energy drinks, man. Fuck, I'm crazy about the energy drinks. Let me see here. I think good boxers would weather early rounds and Francis would gas out. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, Kevin. I agree with that right now. But I think if he conditioned himself, I mean, that's kind of what I said at the beginning of this stream. I said right now he's at a disadvantage. MMA guys, they fight 3 5-minute rounds. Of course, if it's a championship fight, it's 5 5-minute rounds. Boxers fight 12 3-minute rounds. So, I mean, he would need to change up his conditioning. And that's kind of what caught up to Conor McGregor too, right? I mean, I don't think he was used to that structure. And, you know, for a guy, I mean, again, for a guy who had never fought a boxing match in his life to step in there with one of the best, if not the best to ever do it, man, Conor McGregor is a fucking, he's a legend. I don't care what anybody says, man. That guy is a legend, and people don't like him, and people always trying to put him down. The guy finished Cowboy Cerrone with shoulder fucking attacks, bro. I mean, how can you people hate on this guy? What has he done? Who has he fought? He finished Jose Aldo in one punch. He lit up Eddie Alvarez, who not too long ago, put Justin Gaethje to sleep, or close to it. So I mean, if you don't have respect for Conor McGregor, man, you're just playing yourself. I understand if you don't like him, but if you don't respect his abilities, I think you're just bullshitting yourself. But that's my opinion. Let me see here. Beast Mode Miami, RGS at the Grand. It says real deal. Hell yeah, real deal Holyfield, man. That's my guy. Lost one. It says watch Kell Brook versus Triple G. I know it's a shutout. That third round upper cut is crazy, lifts the crowd. Lost one. I loved that fight. And you know what? Kell Brook is one of those guys that, unfortunately, because of the culture of boxing, will never get the credit that I think he deserves. The guy went up 2 weight classes to fight Triple G. He went up 2 weight classes to fight Triple G and put on a heck of a performance until he got stopped. And then who else did he fight? Oh, he fought Errol Spence. I thought he was winning that fight until he lost the orbital. You know, Errol Spence busted that orbital. Hey, Errol Spence is a gangster. But man, I thought he was beating Errol Spence in that fight. I thought he was outboxing Errol Spence. I think he's a better boxer than Errol Spence. I think if his orbital bone didn't give out in that fight, and maybe if he hadn't taken the Triple G fight, which I think he took before that, but I could be wrong, which, you know, may have compromised his orbital a little bit, I think he might have won that fight. But all credit to Errol Spence. He's a beast. That's another topic I want to mention. Errol Spence is scheduled to fight Danny Garcia. Listen to this shit. We'll get back to that in a second. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. RGN's in the Granite, the real deal, one of the best. Stipe, insane. Hell yeah. Animal. Hell yeah. 12 rounds, isn't gas. Facing out, Beantown. Kevin from Chicago says Franny and Conor would both gas out and be open to serious damage in later rounds if they fight the right fighters. You might be right about that. 2 to 3 a week is fine, says the law. So I'm not even sure what you're talking about there, brother. Uh, the, the Monster Energy drinks, bro. The Monster Energy drinks. The kickstarts. Tell me which one do you guys like? For me right now, man, I'm on that. I really like. I always like the kickstarts. I like the kickstarts because I like the flavors. I like that they have some calories. I don't like 0 calorie stuff. 0 calorie stuff. It fucks me up. I don't like the way it tastes. I don't. It gives me a headache. I like for there to be sugar in there, but I also don't like I was looking at a rock star today, right? I was thinking about pulling the trigger on a rock star, and the fucking thing was 250 calories. I mean, what the fuck? That's like, bro, that's like a fucking In-N-Out burger. 250 calories for a drink? Come on, man. No, I'm good on that. That's why I go with the what's it called? The kickstarts. I think they're like 80 or some shit. And then I like the monsters. I mean, they're closer to like 200, I think, but there's one where it's like orange. The can is orange. It's still fizzy, and it's got like a Mexican skull on it. You know, that like cool Mexican like Dia de los Muertos art, Day of the Dead art, and it's like mango flavored. It's got like mango juice, and it's like a mango flavored soda. Which, man, I'm from Miami, bro. You can't tell me that there's a mango flavored energy drink that tastes like mango soda. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Um, so that's what happened there, man. I love that flavor. Let's see what's going on here. Get it in you. You're working it off. Caffeine, good stuff. Train. You don't have to feel guilty about you doing it. Beast Mode, Miami, big biceps. They're all right, man. They're all right. I got some long ass arms, so it takes me a while to get these biceps big. I got these long ass chimpanzee arms and shit, man. Ali versus Frazier. 15 rounds, 45 minutes MMA. Yeah, man. I watched a couple of those as well during this quarantine. Wild, man. Wild. Those fights were wild, man. Those guys nearly died in the ring, man. Those guys nearly died in the ring. Kevin from Chicago says, "Boss hog Connor." He's a boss. He really is a boss, man. Listen, hate Connor's personality, man. Hate him all you want. But if you're gonna tell me this guy isn't skilled to the gills, this guy's skilled to the gills. All right, this guy's skills are paying more bills than Donald Trump's check right now, man. I'm telling you, I can watch Conor fight all day, man. If I know a Conor fight's happening, I'm watching, because that's a guy. The thing I love about Conor's style is he's explosive as hell, and he's finishing the fight, man. He's trying to finish the fight. He's trying to finish you off. I mean, here's what you guys got to understand about the fight game, man, and fighters. You know, there's a killer instinct. You know, you got to have a killer instinct, man. And a lot of people, like when they're talking about basketball, they say Michael Jordan had that killer instinct. He wants to finish your ass. LeBron James doesn't. But you know, this is the fight game. This is a legit killer instinct we're dealing with here. Because, I mean, these dudes are fighting. I mean, if these dudes were doing this in the street, somebody might seriously end up dead. I mean, this is human hand-to-hand combat. You know, this is human cockfighting, basically. This survival of the fittest in there, man. And Conor is trying to remove you. He's trying to remove you from your consciousness, man. He's trying to remove you from your consciousness. The guy is an animal, man, and he throws everything with mean, calculated intentions to try to finish you off. And I love that shit, man, and that's why he sells. That's why I like him. RGN and the Granite says, haters, inspirational video started Monday on RGNs and the Granite. I love it, G. I love it, brother. Kevin from Chicago says, for beverages, can't go wrong with lemon lime or Coca-Cola pop. That's true. That's good stuff, too. That's good stuff, too. Can't teach reach. True that, RGNs and the Granite. Davey L, what's up, my brother? He says, let's see. Super fight. Joshua versus Fury. You know, that's a good fight. That's the best fight to make. Right now, that's the best and biggest fight to make in boxing is Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Excuse me. There's no bigger fight. There's no bigger fight in the sport of boxing. There's probably no bigger fight in combat sports, period. Not just, and when I say there's no bigger fight, not just, I'm not just considering it from a competitive angle. I'm saying that from a financial angle, from a financial standpoint. What fight is bigger than Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua? It's just not out there. There's no fight bigger than that. And the crazy part is they both have to get through pretty legitimate opponents in order to make that happen. Davey L saying $300 million. RGN's in the Granite says Fury gonna be a legend. Fact, Irish angry. Man, there's something about that Irish thing for real. Those dudes ain't messing around. Those dudes are tough, man. Yeah, that's the biggest fight. That's the biggest fight in combat sports. But the problem with it is they do have to get through some decent opposition before it happens. I think Tyson Fury has Deontay Wilder's number. I think Wilder still has that chance to win because he has such a big punch and it is heavyweight boxing and anyone can get knocked out. But I don't even want to see it because I feel like, hey guys, I don't even want to see it because I feel like, sorry, some families pulling up, drop off some donuts. Big donut culture out here in California. I don't know what it is. Not really my thing. But, I'll eat them once in a while. I like cheesecake and peanut butter cookies and stuff that isn't too crazy sweet. But oh my God. They're tripping out on here. But yeah, they both got to get through some pretty tough guys. Fury, man, he's got an easier road there. He's got an easier road there with Wilder. Anthony Joshua has a tougher fight. A lot of people are sleeping on Kubrat Pulev, which is the guy he's going to be fighting next. And, the thing you have to take into consideration is that Kubrat Pulev is a guy who's lost one fight, right? He's a guy that lost only one fight to Vladimir Klitschko, where he got caught. He got caught slipping against Vladimir Klitschko, and that's not a horrible or unfathomable thing to do, because even Vladimir Klitschko has been caught. It's the heavyweight division. That's the only fight Kubrat Pulev has ever lost. Kubrat Pulev has a ton of amateur experience. The guy can fight, and he's going to be going up. AJ's going to be going up against him, and I don't know where AJ's head is at, to be honest with you guys, because look, he's been fighting the majority of his pro career as this steamroller where he just comes forward and takes you out. Takes you out, wears you down, knocks you out. But then he went up against Andy Ruiz, and Andy Ruiz, you know, whether you like him or not, whether you think he was, you know, an idiot or not for fucking up his opportunities by gaining weight, doing all kinds of stupid shit, he's more sturdy. He was more sturdy. He was more powerful than Anthony Joshua. And when they would meet head on, Anthony Joshua could not handle it. And that's why Andy Ruiz won the first fight. It was because, and I've said this before, by the way, smash the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Get your Fighters Rep shirt in the link below if you want to support Knucklehead Nation. And yeah, and donate to the super chat to help me continue to build this channel and support the fight game, Fighters Rep. But when he fought Andy Ruiz, you know, he landed that shot on Ruiz. He dropped him. He thought he could just walk in on the inside and finish Ruiz. He went right into Ruiz's wheelhouse, and he got lit up. And in that second fight, you saw he was clearly avoiding Andy Ruiz's wheelhouse. For me, at times, he looked uncomfortable and vulnerable in the rematch. And I think he won the rematch clearly. But make no mistake, he looked uncomfortable. He looked vulnerable, and I don't like that. I don't like that. I feel like the guy changed the way he fought. I feel like that does register mentally when you go inside on somebody that's stronger than you and you get banged out like that. I think it leaves a mark. I think he may have taken some damage in that fight. And again, I could be wrong, but he looked vulnerable to me. And I wouldn't put it, I mean, I think he's going to beat Pulev. I do think he's going to beat Pulev. But if Pulev won or gave him a hell of a fight, I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, knuckleheads, that's all I've got for you guys for today. I'm about to play outside with these crazy kids. And I'll see you guys Monday. Keep it clean.